All set, Mark.
Okay. Good evening, everybody, and welcome everyone to the June 8th, 2021 regular Board of Education meeting. We apologize for not being live in the Village Hall, but we are experiencing some technical challenges, which we are attempting to resolve. But for tonight, we are all participating in a remote meeting. As you know, Governor Pritzker recently extended the disaster declaration related to the COVID-19 pandemic for all Illinois counties to June 26, 2021. Board meetings may be held remotely to comply with the procedures set forth in Public Act 101-640 that Governor Pritzker signed on May 30th, 2021. As a public body, the Lake Bluff Board of Education is subject to the Illinois Open Meetings Act. Prior to this meeting, a public announcement was posted on our website announcing various participation options, including asking questions ahead of the meeting using a Google form. I will also point out that people watching on Zoom will have the opportunity to make public comment by using the raise your hand feature in Zoom, and we will call on you and let you in. While the requirements of the Open Meetings Act have been relaxed during the global pandemic, the members of the Board of Education take their responsibilities as board members who are responsible to the public no less serious. Ann, could you please call the roll?
I can. Andy Duran.
Present.
Ann Hill, present. Mark Berry.
Present.
Carrie Steinbach.
Present.
Tim Penich.
Present.
Amy Connell Donahue.
Present.
Lauren Hirsch.
Present.
That's 7. We're all present and accounted for. We have a quorum. We can begin. Guys, if you all take a moment and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, we offer the opportunity for anybody to make public comment to the board. Shelley, do we have any written comment to read this evening?
No one present at Village Hall, no public comment via the Google Doc, and I don't see any hands raised at this time.
I don't either. Okay, great. Just a reminder, you'll have the opportunity at the end of the meeting to offer public comment again if you like to stick around that long. At this point, we offer the opportunity for board members to offer a possible agenda item for a future meeting or a discussion item that we need to be made aware of for this evening. So if anybody has anything they'd like to offer up, please do so now. Also know that you can always email myself or Dr. Leali about a possible agenda item that we can work toward getting on in the future. We have a growing list. Anybody? I'll offer a brief one. One thing that we might want to consider, this has come up almost every year I've been on the board. Sometimes it pops up because of technical challenges like this. We've often thought about maybe we want to start our own board meeting tradition in another location outside of City Hall. I don't know if that makes sense, but maybe it's an option, something we should talk about on camera and get some perspective on that at some point in the future. One of the nice things about doing it in a place of our own choosing is we are not limited to the setup. Many boards out there sit in a circular or like a round table or like a big conference table. So it's much more personal, much more intimate meeting. You get to look your fellow board members in the eye, unlike town hall, which is a little bit more formal. And I don't know that we have to be so formal, but maybe we want to be. So just future perspective, something to talk about. I guess we'll move on to recognitions. Tonight we've got some celebration to do. We're going to be honoring 3 resolutions on some retirees and also a teacher who's achieved some notoriety. So I will begin. Got to pull that up on my screen here. My board packet is 448 pages long, so bear with me if I was scrolled down to the bottom. So we will begin with a resolution to honor the service of Nancy Ark. Whereas Nancy Ark, after serving as a teaching assistant for more than 17 years at Lake Bluff School District 65, has decided to retire. And whereas it is the desire of this Board of Education on behalf of its members, its faculty, and the community to extend its sincere appreciation for her loyalty to the school district. And whereas during her many years of service, she has demonstrated her willingness to cooperate with fellow staff members, administrators, and to assist many teachers who have come to the district and departed during her tenure in Lake Bluff. Therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Education, District 65, Lake Bluff, Lake County, Illinois, that there be extended to Nancy Ark its appreciation for her contribution to the children of the school district, as well as its earnest desire that she have many years of contented retirement. Dated this 8th day of June, 2021 at Lake Bluff, Lake County, Illinois. So, just to make that official, may I have a motion to approve the retirement resolution for Nancy Ark?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second. Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Lauren Hirsch,
Yes.
Carrie Steinbach,
Yes.
Tim Penich,
Yes.
Amy Connell Donahue,
Yes.
Andy Duran,
Yes.
Ann Hill, yes. Mark Barry,
Yes. The motion is approved. Thank you, Nancy Ark. Our second retiree for the evening is Sally Verdon. So a resolution honoring the service of Sally Verdon, whereas Sally Verdon, after serving as a teacher for more than 9 years at Lake Bluff School District 65, has decided to retire. And whereas it is the desire of this Board of Education on behalf of its members, its faculty, and the community to extend its sincere appreciation for her loyalty to the school district. And whereas during her many years of service, she has demonstrated her willingness to cooperate with fellow staff members, administrators, and to assist the many teachers who have come to the district and departed during her tenure in Lake Bluff. Therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Education, District 65, Lake Bluff, Lake County, Illinois, that there be extended to Sally Verdon its appreciation for her contribution to the children of the school district, as well as its earnest desire that she may have many years of contented retirement. Dated this 8th day of June, 2021 at Lake Bluff, Lake County, Illinois. Again, to make this formal, I'm going to scroll back up. May I have a motion to approve the retirement resolution for Sally Verdon?
so moved.
Second,
I'll second.
roll call vote, please.
Carrie Steinbach,
Yes.
Tim Penich,
Yes.
Amy Connell Donahue,
Yes.
Andy Duran,
Yes.
Ann Hill, yes. Mark Barry,
Yes,
Lauren Hirsch,
Yes.
the motion is approved. Thank you very much for your service, Sally Verdon. Our third retiree this evening is Linda Rosenthal. So a resolution honoring the service of Linda Rosenthal. Whereas Linda Rosenthal, after serving as a teaching assistant for more than 23 years at Lake Bluff School District 65, has decided to retire. And whereas it is the desire of this Board of Education on behalf of its members, its faculty, and the community to extend its sincere appreciation for her loyalty to the school district. And whereas during her many years of service, she has demonstrated her willingness to cooperate with fellow staff members, administrators, and to assist the many teachers who have come to the district and departed during her tenure in Lake Bluff. Therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Education, District 65, Lake Bluff, Lake County, Illinois, that there be extended to Linda Rosenthal its appreciation for her contribution to the children of the school district, as well as its earnest desire that she may have many years of contented retirement. Dated this 8th day of June, 2021 at Lake Bluff, Lake County, Illinois. Once again, to formalize, may I have a motion to approve the retirement resolution for Linda Rosenthal?
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Tim Penich,
Yes.
Amy Connell Donahue,
Yes.
Andy Duran,
Yes.
Ann Hill, yes. Mark Barry,
Yes,
Lauren Hirsch,
Yes.
Carrie Steinbach,
Yes.
motion is approved. Thank you very much to Linda Rosenthal and to all our retirees. And I believe we've got some staff who would like to make a few comments, perhaps related to them.
I can kick us off if that's all right. I would love to share a few words myself about each of our 3 retirees from LBES, and then I'll pass it over to some of the staff members that are joining us here tonight. Maybe what I'll do is just go staff member by staff member. So I'll share and then other staff members can share. So I want to start with Sally. So much to say about Sally, but I'll keep it brief because I know there are other team members that want to talk about her. But if you haven't met Sally Beverden, she's soft-spoken, hardworking, kind to kids, and willing to go the extra mile. All the things that we would envision an amazing educator to be. She's made many spaces throughout our school work to service students and has impressed us with her ability to be flexible. I'm excited to hear how Sally takes advantage of this next season of her life. She's ready for retirement and there are lots of adventures awaiting her. Sally, you are so appreciated and you will be missed. LBES loves you. So I know we have a few team members that are here tonight. Would anyone like to add on to our farewell for Sally?
I can.
Paige.
Hi, yeah, I'm Paige Soulé, the librarian at Lake Bluff Elementary School. Sally, I have so enjoyed our pandemic lunchtimes this year, and coming into your room, seeing you with Desiree and Aiden has been such a joy. It's been really special for me to have you as my little neighbor there, and I've been so happy to get to know you even better this year. And if the pandemic has allowed that, I'm thankful for one shining moment. It's been lovely, and I really hope that we see a lot of you.
Thank you, Mrs. Soulé. All right, any other staff members?
I just want to say every time I see Sally, she's always smiling, always saying hello, always having a conversation. She's always running and busy, but there's always a smile and always hello.
Thank you so much, Linda. All right, we'll shift. So another congratulations, Sally. They're tears of joy. You're doing the right thing. We're sad to see you go.
Thank you.
So when it comes to Nancy Ark, our Nance, and I'm not, the beauty of Zoom while these meetings are hard is I don't have to look directly at her because it is going to start making me cry. When it comes to TAs, Nancy is a staple at LBES. She does it all. She supports individual students, small groups, and more. Nancy, you nurture, you nudge, and you will be missed. Additionally, I want to share that she goes above and beyond when it comes to our staff, the bulletin boards, the cleanup and organization, and even being our resident photographer. I'm quite confident that many of these roles may remain vacant for a little time. Thank you for caring about kids and always being a person that our staff and students count on. LBES loves you. Any staff members that are here with us this evening, would you like to say a few words about Nancy?
I'll go ahead because I kind of, my comments kind of piggyback on what Kelly said. Because Nancy's going to leave several void in the school. She, her work with the students, and her dedication is outstanding. But then there's the behind the scenes, how helpful she is to all the teachers. I remember times on the last day of school where she's in there working forever, helping teachers get packed up. And then also she's been like the backbone of our social committee. And I don't know what we're gonna do. We're gonna have to text her or whatever whenever something comes up because she knows all the details. She's always willing to go get things. And we're really gonna miss you, Nancy. So I wish you the best.
I'll miss you too.
And
Thanks.
of course, I always have to say something. Nancy, yeah, she's just been the backbone to our little team, but actually, just for me. So I will miss her every day, seeing her face, but yet I know that we'll see each other all the time.
You bet. Can't get rid of me that easy. And I said I would be happy to come back and help plan those parties. But you guys, if I thought this was my second career, And if I thought that it gave me such gratification, it would have been my first career. I'm going to miss everybody. Sorry.
Thank you, Nancy. Your passion is coming through the screen for everyone who's viewing. We really appreciate you. All right, and last but not least, Linda. Linda Rosenthal, I think one of the things I may miss the most is seeing you walk to work when I'm traveling that way. For those who have seen her, rain, shine, or cold weather, you are a trooper. And I know that that gives you good energy as you are about to enter a day filled with adventure or to perhaps decompress on your way home. In all realness, you are irreplaceable. You've supported many staff and students throughout the time in our building, and our support staff can trust that students under your care or with you throughout the day are getting all that they need and are also challenged. Your endearing smile and tiny but mighty personality can never be replaced. Thank you for all you've done. LBES loves you.
Thank you. I always wondered who that was walking every day. I drove by her a lot.
And I just wanted to share about both Linda and Nancy. I met them when we were at East School in our little tiny family there. But I most remember these women of wisdom in my life because we had this little after school club that mostly met on Fridays. And I want to thank them so much for the deep thoughts and mostly our fun. Girls, do you remember our little fun movies that we used to do with the pirate booty for Deb?
Yes.
I and Jody like had the videos. I don't know what happened to them, but it's a good thing we have that memory. And every time I see you guys, I just you know, my heart is so warm with all that we shared.
Mine too. It was a great time.
Thank you. Yeah. Appreciate it.
Linda, you've become such a dear friend, and you'll be a friend for a long time. All of you will.
Yep.
And I couldn't pick one of you incredible ladies because I feel so close to all three of you and just wanted to acknowledge all of you are incredible retirees. I'll try to get through this. It's been built over many years. I've had the pleasure of working with all three of you, wonderful women for the past 17 years, since starting in 2004 at East School, hard to believe so long ago, both with Linda and Nancy, and had the pleasure of pretty much working with one of you over all these years. Your caring and sensitive dedication to all our students has just been incredible and such an asset to LBES. A few years later, we welcomed Sally to our team. And Sally, your strong background in special ed, along with your reading instruction background and your supportive, nurturing teaching style has just been so incredibly valuable to all our developing learners. So you're just all extraordinary pillars of District 65, and you will each truly be missed. And best wishes to all of you in this next chapter.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
I'd like to jump in. Oh, sorry.
Thanks,
Linda.
everyone.
About Linda. And I think Linda, I think you've been almost in one of my classes almost every year. You are so dedicated to your students. You, no matter what the challenge is, you're willing to work with them. You go get help from me. You always seem to have a smile no matter what. And it's just been such a joy. I'm always happy when I find that you're going to be in one of my classes because, you know, you're just a great addition. And then I just want to quick say one thing about Sally. This is what I've always noticed about Sally. She works part-time, but she puts in full-time effort. And that's just something that I've observed over the years. So I'm going to miss everyone.
Thank you all very much.
And Sally, I had the opportunity to work with you a few years ago in second grade with some very special children. And you and I have shared a lot with our sons. And that I hold that really deep. I'll miss you.
Thank you. I've been so fortunate to be able to work in a district that supports teachers, and I am very passionate about teaching. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, to our retirees and to those that joined us this evening. I just want to recognize Jeremy Soleric, who teaches wellness, Kim Novak, a learning behavior specialist, and then Paige Soule is our library and media specialist. Thank you all for being here tonight to speak.
Thank
Can
you.
I just throw out real quick? You guys really don't make this easy for any of us. We may just forget about it and just come back to work next year. Ha ha.
Right, we might.
Well, thank you for your years of dedication. We appreciate it. The town appreciates it. The kids appreciate it. So thank you and enjoy what's next.
Congratulations to all of you.
Congratulations. We are going to miss you.
Thank you.
Congratulations to our retirees. I'll jump in with the next recognition. And boy, it's my honor actually to recognize Allison Fink, who has been identified as a Teacher of the Year by the Illinois Association of Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance, or as we in the biz like to call it, IAFERD. However, Allison first was selected as a Teacher of the Year at the regional level, and then moved on to the state level and was honored again at that level. So that's a huge thing. That's not something that we've had happen in our time. So congratulations, Allison. Thank you for representing Lake Bluff Middle School. I will not put her on the spot right now, but her state Teacher of the Year award qualifies her to then apply for the Midwest Award. And that is the SHAPE Teacher of the Year award. There's certainly a lot of work that would go into applying for that. So while I'm not putting her on the spot tonight, I will be sure to speak with her about it tomorrow. Congratulations, Allison.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Nate.
And
Thank you.
Allison, you're going to be honored in December, right? At the state convention?
Correct.
It will be
There's like it'll be a dinner and I don't know. Hopefully I won't have to speak. But.
December 2nd in Tinley Park. I've got it on my calendar.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Great job, Allison.
All right, so we're going to move on to item 7 in our agenda, which is our reports. And stop me if I miss something, but I'm going to go by my notes, which says there's nothing from the PTO tonight, from the Alliance tonight, nothing from the elementary school tonight. But Nate is going to jump in with a little 8th grade graduation update.
Yeah, it happened. And I'm really excited to congratulate all of our 8th graders who officially were promoted to freshmen in high school last night. You may recall the weather was a little questionable. It was pouring rain in Lake Forest. It was pouring rain in Libertyville, but the rain stopped at precisely the right moment as we planned it for, and the ceremony went off without a hitch. So I'm really appreciative of Amy and Lauren and Tim and Anne, thank you for coming to help. It was great to have board representation at the ceremony last night. We had some students who just did a great job speaking on behalf of the class, and we wrapped it up in about 45 minutes, which I believe was record time. First time doing it outdoors. I know a lot of folks enjoyed that. And if any of you ordered flowers and you may have forgotten to pick them up, they are waiting for you on the front doorstep at the middle school. So feel free to stop by and pick those up. But it was a great night. So thank you very much for all your help.
Thanks, Nate. Congratulations to all those former 8th graders and welcome to your freshman year.
Yeah, I do want to just say a quick thank you to Nate and Joe and the 8th grade promotion committee for rethinking again how to do a really major milestone event for our kids. And it really went off very, very well. And I'm just really proud of all the kids. The speeches are amazing. So it is online on our YouTube channel if you want to take a look. Thanks again.
Moving on to our Director of Finance and Operations. Mr. Khan, did you have something for us?
Just really quick, wanted to remind people that the deadline for signing up for transportation is July 1st. Will not be prorating fees this year. So please, if you want to ride the bus, sign up soon.
Okay. I've been informed that we do not have a report from Student Services, correct? And then President's Report, all I want to do is take this time to, this is our last board meeting of the year, to thank the entire Lake Bluff District 65 community for making it through perhaps the most insane, crazy teaching year in the history of teaching. Everybody from the district office staff to the building staff to the teachers to the support personnel to the TAs to the custodians. A lot of amazing work went into this year, and I just want to recognize all of that and say thank you, and hopefully it gets better from here on out. So thank you for all of you've done. And then moving on to a superintendent's report.
Thanks so much for that, Mark. I couldn't agree more. The whole community pulled together. We really appreciate it. Just two quick items tonight. I just want to provide the board with an update on the Thrive Committee. As you know, we will be starting a task force to address equity in our district, and we're excited to begin that work. We do have a lot of parent volunteers. We have a lot of staff who are excited about this work. We are still recruiting community members and members from our high school and surrounding community organizations, so we aren't quite fully formed yet. And we're also looking at our data and putting together some information for that task force. We would like to aim to meet a little bit later this summer, more towards August, but we'll be sending a communication shortly to everyone who volunteered. At this point, we don't have any plans of turning anyone away. We're really excited that we have a lot of people interested in having these conversations and talking through some things that we can do to just improve our experience for kids, keep on that path of figuring out what our next level of work is, and just continue to offer excellent things for all of our students in Lake Bluff.
Thank you.
And the only other item that I have is a calendar and logistics item. So we have, our next meeting isn't actually scheduled until July 20th. And that makes it a little bit difficult for us to pay our bills without your approval. So I'm asking tonight if we can adjust our July 20th meeting to July 8th. Our meeting is typically a very short meeting. It's a just bill payment, really. And it could be anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. And it would just be the opportunity for the board to see the bills that need to be paid, make a motion to pay those bills or reserve anything for discussion. But typically it's a very quick meeting. I just know that our business department would like to have some of these things taken care of sooner than later. Jay, do you have anything to add on that?
No, that sums it up. We have 6 weeks between meetings, and it's a long time. We're getting a lot of bills now that we missed getting into this board meeting, and I don't want to have to wait till the end of July to pay them.
I don't have a problem with it.
What time of day are we talking?
So-
This is usually a morning meeting, right?
It's usually a morning meeting, and I think we've done 7 a.m. Is that correct? In the past?
That's what they've done in the past. I don't think we have to do that, but if that's what people want, that's fine. And
I can't do 7 a.m. on that day, but you have a
can't
quorum
either.
without me. So
I will be
I
remote.
can't do that day either. Sorry.
If we're allowed to do remote, I'm happy to participate, but if we're not, I'm not going to be in the area.
I can do later in the day in July 8th. I teach a 6:30 class in the morning, so I'm not done till 7:30.
And we can make it later in the day too. We can make it a 7 p.m. meeting if we'd like. And at this point, I do think we'll have the ability to have people log in remotely. So we would just need 4.
On July 8th, good with me. I would opt not for 7 a.m. or 7 p.m. and somewhere in between if possible, but can make anything work.
In the past, it was at the train station. People were catching early trains downtown, so that was the reason for the time.
If we
I can
can
make it
log
work
in
as well.
remotely, I can join. If it's remote.
Same with me.
I'll just be out of town.
I can make it anytime that day and in person. I need to book my summer.
That's
I
great.
should be available that day as well, pretty much anytime.
Great, then what we can do is reach out and find a time that works for everyone and then just post that meeting as quickly as possible. And that will just give us a little bit more support with our bills in the summer. Appreciate that.
All right, so I think Dr. Leali is going to keep right on rolling here with our first discussion presentation item to update us on the return to learn for fall of 2021, the next school year.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we are very excited to present our plan at this point for the fall of 2021. It feels like it has been a lot longer than a year since we presented this last July, this similar plan, but we're looking forward to a much different school year. So I did want to just take a moment and talk a little bit about some of the accomplishments that we do feel like we are very proud of from this year. As you know, we had 3 phases to our reopening plan where we increased the number of students in school each time. We had over 45,000 Zoom meetings that we hosted as a district, which is a lot, 88 webinars.
That number blew me away.
What's that?
That number blew me away when I saw that. 5,000 Zoom
Yeah. And our tech department was very busy, as you can imagine. 88 webinars, 29 return to learn meetings with over 4,800 views on YouTube, just those 29 meetings, which we think is great. We had spreadsheets that our nurses kept anytime a student was sent to the nurse or required attention for symptoms, and we had over 940 entries on that spreadsheet for both schools. So our nurses, as you know, were very, very busy. Approximately 150 quarantines and approximately 40 positive COVID cases. And I say approximate because I know that some of our folks who remained remote for portions of that year probably did not let us know about those kinds of things, but those are the ones that we entered into our spreadsheet for our school district. So lots that we were attending to this year in addition to teaching and learning. And we are very excited to kind of move into a more traditional year and present our plan. So as you know, all of our work revolves around our mission and vision to provide students with quality instruction, educational environments that inspire academic achievement, personal growth, and responsible citizenship. We want excellence in our education system and enthusiasm for life for all of our students every day. As we're moving into next year, we do still have some assumptions about what we are going to have to be facing. We know we will continue to have students need to quarantine based on the definition of close contact as it stands today, but we also anticipate that that definition is going to be changing before the fall. As you know, a close contact with a positive COVID case at this point, and as it's been all year, is within 6 feet for more than 15 minutes in a 24-hour period. I've talked a little bit about the pilot that Lake County is involved in, trying to figure out if they can adjust that definition of close contact and only quarantine students that were within 3 feet as opposed to 6. So far, that's been a successful pilot. We have some counties around us who are doing that as well. And so if that does get adjusted for us, we feel we'll have many less quarantines, student quarantines. And additionally, students who are fully vaccinated, which would be our 12-year-olds and up, will not be required to quarantine if they are a close contact, which is great news. We will be continuing to trace close contacts for our students who are not eligible for the vaccine or who aren't vaccinated. We will need to offer remote learning opportunities per our Illinois State Board of Education for students who meet those 2 criteria as well. If they're ineligible for the vaccine and have to quarantine based on being a close contact. We are anticipating that at some point during next school year, a vaccine will be available for students who are younger than 12, which is great news. We're hearing it inching closer to fall, and we are absolutely already in contact with our village to try and have a vaccine site here for our students to take advantage of. We are also so grateful that our staff, faculty, parents, and community are honest with us about close contacts and positive diagnosis and symptoms and all those things so that we can keep everyone safe in school. We know our guidance will continue to evolve and come from different places. We also know that the opinions and concerns of our community, parents, staff, students will be varied. Not everyone feels the same at this point about where we are in the pandemic, and that is reflected also in the guidance that we are looking at as we're operating our schools. We anticipate that we'll need to continue to adjust our spending and budgets to address the needs as they pop up, and we will continue to communicate as early and as often as possible. We still believe these things about COVID-19, that it is airborne, that masks help us reduce the spread, that outside or in well-ventilated areas are better than inside with windows closed. We know that it can be transmitted even when students are asymptomatic. We know that there are strains, various strains, mutating strains of this virus that we may need to deal with, and that we're still learning about it and any long-term effects. Just a little note on vaccines. As you know, there is not an FDA formally approved vaccination yet. All of the vaccines are still under emergency use authorization. Once any of these vaccines is approved formally by the FDA, we will be notified if the vaccine will be a mandatory vaccine, just like we have some of the vaccines that are mandatory now. We don't know that yet, and that will not be a decision that we make for students. As I said before, fully vaccinated students and staff do not have to quarantine if they've been in close contact with a positive case, which is great news. And as of last week, about 65% of the Lake County population of 16 and older have received their vaccine, at least a first shot. Just as an FYI for our community, the Lake County Fairgrounds will not be operating as a site at some point in June. So we are available if we can help anyone find a place for a vaccine. And again, like I said, we're anticipating hopefully that by the fall, there will be some developments in terms of a vaccine for students younger than 12. Any questions on that so far? Okay, as you know, we've been making decisions all year long since this all began, and I just want to emphasize that student and staff safety and well-being, as well as the social, emotional health and wellness of our students and staff, are continuing to be our top priorities. Obviously, we are looking at the achievement and growth of our students. As you know, we're looking to provide an equitable experience for all of our students, regardless of what logistical issues or locations that they need to be learning from. We want to provide continuity and consistency in our programming, and then of course support for our community through communication. And again, we are very fortunate to live in a village that is supportive of the mitigation strategies that we know work with COVID-19, and we appreciate the collaboration that we've had with them as well. So our plan tries to address all of the above, and we know that it will evolve as our guidance changes. So what we're presenting tonight is our recommendation for safely opening school for all students to learn on-site in the fall of 2021. And as you know, this is the plan as of today, June 8th. Just as a reminder, the board's role in this, it does not need official board approval or a vote. Our Illinois State Board of Education clearly defines that this is our superintendent and administrative team's responsibility to bring you a recommendation. As you know, as we did this year, we will continue to provide regular updates. We welcome any questions or concerns or feedback, and we will continue to adjust and keep our Board of Education in the loop as we implement our plan. Our calendar. So the last 2 years now, since the pandemic began, ISB has issued us 5 remote learning planning days. We no longer have those in our calendar next year, so our calendar is going to look very similar to as it has in the past. We'll begin school with Teacher Institute days on August 23rd and 4th. Students will begin on the 25th. Our last day of school without emergency days would be June 7th of 2022, and we will go back to having early release days in the schedule once a month. As I stated before, we're looking to provide a consistent program for all of our students. And as last year, our focus was really on providing the highest quality remote learning program that we could, so that any student, regardless of where they needed to learn, would have an equitable and robust program. We're shifting our focus now to creating the highest quality learning environment in our schools, and we will provide remote learning when it's required for students. We'll be implementing all of our assessments. Our students will be held to the high expectations that we've had in the past. And our teachers are prepared to address remote learners when it is needed and provide as seamless an experience as possible. We will not have any completely remote classrooms. And again, remote learning will only be provided to students who meet 2 criteria. If they are mandated to be in a quarantine based on having a close contact with a positive case, and they have to not be eligible for the vaccine, either due to a medical condition or being younger than 12. Our schedules will be as they have been before, and so our 2 pre-K times are there, and our schedules for LBES and LBMS will be the same as they have been in the past. Our extracurricular activities will be back up and running and resume in the fall. We will continue to monitor guidance provided by the Department of Health and our sports associations, and we will absolutely be providing more information on this as we come up toward the beginning of the school year. As we talked about in a previous board meeting, we are asking that parents continue to certify that their child is symptom-free, but we will not be using the Google form anymore on a daily basis. So when parents bring their children to school, that is their certification that their child does not have a COVID diagnosis, hasn't been in close contact, and is not exhibiting any of the symptoms that are widely accepted as being related to COVID-19. Sorry, my lights just went off. Okay. Of course, we will be monitoring symptoms. So we do encourage, we're trying to get back to a more normal or typical school year. So if students are not feeling well, even if it is something that is not related to COVID, we are encouraging them to take a sick day and not attend school that day. And then remote learning will not be available under that circumstance. So if the student is just not feeling well, feeling tired, and it's not really related to anything specific, that would be a time for them to take a sick day as we have in the past. We will not be conducting daily temperature checks, but if any student is exhibiting symptoms like we did this year, the nurse will go ahead and conduct a certification or take a look at the situation. And if we need to have the student isolate, call parents and caregivers to pick the student up along with their siblings as we have this year. That guidance has not changed. I know that masking is a topic that's very important to our families and parents. We recognize that this is a frustrating aspect of the mitigation that we've had to put in place over the past year for some of our families, and it's difficult for some of our students. We agree that this is a tough issue, and I don't have an answer at this point about what it's going to look like in the fall. We are going to be closely monitoring the guidance around masking, and as we have this year, we will take advantage of any flexibility that we are given on this issue. Right now, as mandated by the State Board of Education and our governor, we have been continuing to wear a mask regardless of vaccination status this school year. And we will continue to do that into summer school until we receive different instruction. I do think we're going to see new guidance coming out on June 11th as of Friday. In a small meeting with the Lake County Health Department, there was really no additional information that they could give us about what that guidance will look like, or if there's anything that will be addressed in terms of masking with that. As we have this whole year, we will continue to encourage hand washing and using hand sanitizer throughout the day. We'll continue to keep those stations easily accessible. We encourage students to bring water bottles. We have filling stations, which are really a great option. We will be encouraging disinfection whenever anyone comes in contact with a classroom or any materials. We will continue the ventilation system settings that we've had this year to increase fresh air. We will continue to use outdoor spaces when possible, and we will continue to use seating charts in all settings because we will need to do contact tracing if there are positive cases. We will continue to have wipes available in each classroom. We will continue to have the need for isolation rooms, and we will continue to expect the community to adhere to any safety and mitigation strategies that we're using throughout the year. We will be keeping our desks and tables, allowing for as close to 3 feet as possible between students. As we've talked about before, our plexiglass shields will no longer be used. Students will move from classroom to classroom, which we have not done this year, and all classrooms will have a seating chart. We will start the year cleared of non-essential furniture, but we will be looking at our furniture needs throughout the year. And when we can get back to a more typical classroom experience, we're going to be looking at what teachers need in order to provide a comfortable, flexible seating, learning environment for students. We will continue to limit the sharing of supplies, and we will continue to use special spaces when we need to keep students distanced. And again, like we talked about, we will use outdoor spaces when possible. We need to keep students still 6 feet apart at lunch. So that is why we're going to continue to need alternative spaces outside of the classroom, because in our classrooms, we will be able to keep students 3 feet apart if they're masked. But when masks come off to eat, students need to be 6 feet apart. We will be returning to normal food service next year, and food will be served cafeteria style as safely as possible. And we aren't sure about prepackaged options at this point. Students will receive an ID again, and they will use that to pre-order. And again, we'll be using disinfection, increasing disinfection in those areas, and provide PPE to those staff members as needed. We will keep our playgrounds open, and we will continue to have movement breaks when weather permits outside or even inside the school. Classes will be kept distant from each other if we can, just to keep those groups of children together in case we need to do contact tracing. We'll continue to engage students in physically distant games. We do encourage physical distancing when possible, and students will be able to remove their masks outdoors during recess as long as we can maintain that physical distance. I also think new guidance is going to be coming out on outdoor spaces soon. There's been guidance released on camps, just not school settings yet. Same will be happening in the hallways, the main office, our common spaces. We'll be keeping our signage up, and we'll keep our students in the places that we anticipate that they should be, so that again, if we need to contact trace, we know who they've been with. We will again have physical education outside when possible. We'll be limiting physical contact in terms of handshaking, high fives, etc. Again, we've purchased megaphones and microphones just so that teachers don't need to be less than physically distant with students. Again, limiting sharing of equipment, and we'll be cleaning the equipment as needed. And we will be utilizing locker rooms next year with limited capacity as needed. We are going to be returning to a more traditional transportation arrangement. Bus capacity will be in compliance with what ISB and the Illinois Department of Health have told us is okay. And we are encouraging our families to utilize bus service. We will continue to have a seating chart. We will need to have students masked, and we will continue to have hand sanitizer available on the bus. As a reminder, as Jay has talked about, the deadline to sign up is July 1st. And if a family opts out of transportation in the middle of the year, we will not be prorating fees as we have been for the last couple of years. For the beginning of the year, at least, we're going to limit our visitors to the building. We will be asking them to adhere to the same safety and mitigation guidance that we're using for our students. And they will not have just general access to the buildings again, so that we can monitor where people are and when they are in close proximity to students. Our nurses have been amazing this year. They will continue to follow the guidance as they have been. We have been limiting the visitors to the health office to those who have specific conditions, and trying to kind of manage health conditions closer to the classroom so that we can keep students separate. We'll continue to do that. And we're asking parents that if we do call you to pick up your children, that you please help us out and come within a reasonable amount of time so that students don't have to be isolated for long periods of time. When we do have confirmed COVID-19 cases, we will continue to work with the health department to identify the best course of action. Again, right now, the definition of a close contact is less than 6 feet. That may change, but if it does change to 3 feet, it will only be in the classroom. The less than 6 feet guidance, I don't think is going to change for buses, playgrounds, and lunchrooms, but we will keep on top of that and see how that goes. We will continue to adhere to the quarantines. We do not share names of individuals with COVID-19. And again, these guidelines may change as the guidance changes throughout the summer. We have talked a little bit about COVID testing on site. We will continue to have board discussion about this. The reason we will probably consider at least having it available on site is so that if we are required to do that, in order to take advantage of different quarantine guidance or close contact guidance, that we would be able to do that. So we are in the process of obtaining the paperwork and the certification that we need in order to be able to offer the testing. If we need to do that so that we can maintain the 3-foot close contact definition if that's available to us. But again, we are pursuing the option that would be free, and we would probably only be using it for diagnostic testing and when parents give us permission. Jay is going to be presenting a little bit about COVID-19 expenditures later, and so I'm going to let him address the specifics of that in the next presentation. But essentially, our budget was impacted in a favorable way. We did spend a lot of money on COVID-related costs, but those were offset by the lack of a need for substitute teachers, because many of our teachers could teach remotely even if they weren't feeling well. Reduced routes for our buses and stipend pay because we couldn't run our clubs and athletics the way that we typically do. And then of course we are receiving a lot of aid from our government in the form of subsidy for lunches as well as relief for PPE. I do want to thank, just like Mark did, everyone who helped us get through this school year. I know that we'll continue to rely on our community partners as we move into the next year. And again, this is the plan as of today with the guidance that we have right now. I know that it's not ideal to be thinking about coming back with some of these mitigation plans in place. But as I said before, I think as a district, we've done a really good job of changing when we're able to. When we get new guidance, we will make those adjustments as quickly as we possibly can to make sure that we have the best learning environment for our students as possible. And with that, I'd like to take any questions.
I have one. In regards to the testing on site, what would that actually solve? Because even if you're a close contact and or not showing symptoms, I get confused with the regulations. So curious.
So it's a good question. And I think that in the webinar I sat through today with the Illinois Department of Health, the reasoning behind it is that you would be able to keep students essentially in school longer if you know that they are not COVID positive, specifically in terms of a student who might be a contact of somebody that you think is potentially COVID positive. So as you know, when a student is symptomatic, we send that student home and their siblings. If the siblings are asymptomatic, we could do a quick test and keep them in school, and then have that symptomatic student either take our test and wait for the results or go and take a test somewhere else. But it's basically about the availability being there so that we can keep as many students in school as possible without disruption.
Thank you.
I have something too. I know we had talked about this previously, but that would be something that we would cover as far as cost. It wouldn't be a charge to the students. It'd be something that the district would be paying for. Okay.
Yeah, no charge. And the test that we're looking at is also free to us. There are a couple of different tests. The Shield, the U of I Shield test is offered to us at a discounted rate, but is still fairly costly at $10 a test. So we would be looking at a test called Binax Now, which is an antigen test, which is free for us and is a good test to support when a student is symptomatic. So it's helpful for us in a diagnostic sense. We wouldn't be using it for surveillance or weekly testing.
It sounds to me that it's approaching what we might call normal. I think it all sounds like good news. I would imagine parents would be, as if my kids were still in school, I think I would be happy to hear what I'm hearing. So I hope that everybody else can feel the same.
We are absolutely looking forward to a more typical year next year. And again, like I said, there might be some things in place still that we need to do. I don't anticipate they'll last all year. And like I said, we'll continue. I meet with the health department once a week at least. And we have a small group that is able to meet with them as well. They've been extremely helpful and collaborative when we need even small groups or our questions answered. And as soon as we get clarifying information, we adjust our plans. So I just want the community to know we hear the concerns. We know that masking is not ideal. We know that as soon as we can, we want to ease up on that requirement. And we're asking the questions that we need to ask. We're thinking creatively and asking all those questions of the Department of Health, but there's lots of layers here to these mitigation pieces. And ultimately, we are responsible to the Illinois State Board of Education and our health departments to make sure that we make the best decisions given the information we have. So I do think it's going to be way better and much more normal, and we are very much looking forward to that. And we also appreciate our parents' patience and flexibility as we move through this summer with our planning.
Any other questions or comments for Dr. Leali? Thank you very much. Super thorough. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So now we roll right into Mr. Khan, who's going to give us an update on the COVID-19 expenditures.
Can I share my screen?
Yeah, your co-host.
Okay, great. So I just wanted to quickly run through some of our spending or some of the impact of COVID on our budget. As Dr. Leali said before, we've spent so far almost $300,000 on COVID-related costs. These are broken down as follows: about $75,000 on salaries and benefits for additional staff. That was mostly for nursing and for facilitating classrooms. We also spent almost $60,000 on services, software, and professional development and training for our staff. And then the balance was in supplies, which were PPE, cleaning supplies, things of that nature. You'll notice in your treasurer's report that we've only used we've used less contingency than is displayed above. When I budgeted the contingency, we budgeted 300,000, so it was actually a pretty good estimate at the beginning of the year, but I needed to budget it by fund. And so I predicted the funds differently, and I could only use it from the fund in which it was budgeted. So for example, many of the supplies were budgeted in Fund 20. So those I could use the Fund 20 contingency. We exceeded our Fund 10 contingency with food service staffing and nurses and other staffing. So just a technicality, but we were expecting to spend about 300,000 and we did. It's about 1.7% of operating expenditures, which is in line and even a little bit on the low side for some of our comparable districts. And then we did get some help. So through the federal government, we got about $30,000 of CARES money, which is the COVID relief money from the first round. Half of this was in last year's results and half of it will be in this year's fiscal year. Then Lake County was nice enough to share their CARES money with us. They were given a large sum of money and couldn't spend it all, so they distributed it to other local municipalities and school districts. And then we also received some help from FEMA, about $20,000 for mostly PPE and sanitizing supplies. We reduced our expenditures in some other areas that we talked about: transportation, substitutes, extra duties, some normal instructional supplies since we were all remote. And then food service, we spend money each year on free and reduced lunches, and this year they were free. In fact, all the lunches for all the kids were free, so that was a big savings to our budget. We have some additional CARES money that we have not received yet because it's on a reimbursement basis. The second round is we're calling it ESSER 2, is 115,000. And then the third round, the American Rescue Plan, is another 257,000. Much of this money has already been spent, but we've not applied for reimbursement yet. A lot of it was spent this year as part of some of that $300,000 that we've spent to date. And then next year we're using it to fund summer school this summer, which is free for everybody, as well as hiring 2 additional staff members next year to support social emotional needs for kids and learning loss in math instruction. And then the additional money that we will still need to spend, we're looking at some classroom technology that we might need. We're still going to, as Dr. Leali said, need to spend money on PPE and cleaning throughout next year. And then we've got some needs for our wireless infrastructure that were identified during COVID. And we may be able to spend some on HVAC improvements or other items that we don't know about yet. So one of the other big impacts was that we basically put off any capital spending because the revenue picture was so uncertain at the beginning of the year that we did not do a lot of, we held off on our furniture purchases and did not do a lot of capital improvement this year, expecting a low collection of taxes. And it turned out that we actually received almost all of our tax revenue in line with history, but we didn't receive that extra part of it until April. So we got about the last 2% in April, which is, we usually receive it all by December and we know what we've got. And so in April, it's really too late to spend it. So we'll probably be seeing a addition to fund balance this year, largely as a result of receiving revenue too late in the year that we weren't expecting, and we were unable to spend it. And so if there's any questions.
Any other questions for Mr. Khan? Not hearing any. Jay, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Then the final discussion item 8C is Dr. Leali is going to discuss some anticipated curriculum and summer projects that are coming up.
Thank you. And we will provide a more detailed report later in the fall about what we accomplished, but just as a high level overview of what our plans are, our teachers will be working this summer to plan instruction for next year based on the assessments that students took this spring. MAP reports will be coming home in the report card, and we'll obviously be analyzing those in our curriculum-based measures internally as we plan, and looking at the curriculum adjustments that were made this year so that we can support students with learning loss that may have occurred over the last 14 months. We'll be working in cross grade level groups and primarily in the areas of reading, writing, and math. And we will also be working on analyzing the culture and climate survey data that we received from our staff and developing school improvement plans that address our learning goals for students, social emotional wellness for students, and climate and culture for staff. We also have some additional specific professional development planned in the areas of special education, as well as beginning our work on equity. And I just wanted to mention that as a board, I'll be reaching out to you a little bit later in the summer to see if we can schedule another board development that would be specifically focused on equity work so that we can have some internal discussion and some study about principles of equity and kind of talking about the direction that we'd like to see this work go.
Do you, Dr. Leali, do you expect to share the assessment data with us in the fall, or when will that all be tabulated and shared?
Yes, we'll be doing a fall student achievement and growth report, which will indicate also the goals that we have for our school improvement plans and district improvement. And we'll start talking about our strategic plan and the goals that we have in our strategic plan and the work that we're going to be doing to meet those goals, as well as incorporating, and I'll present also on the climate and culture data in each building and as a district and what our plans are to address those areas as well.
Do we think because of the nature of this past year and assessment, the setting in which assessments were given or taken, we'll be able to look back in history and compare to prior years fairly, or is it so different that it's hard to compare?
I think this is going to be a baseline for us in lots of ways. You know, one of the things that you talk about with assessment is validity and reliability, and conditions for assessments matter a lot for that. And we know that our learning environments were very, very different. Our assessments then come out in a different way. And again, we don't have any state assessment data from last year. All students took MAP assessments remotely last year. And so we're really going to be taking this spring's data and the data that we have from the entire school year as sort of a baseline. And then again, formulating goals that are in alignment with our strategic plan based on what we know right now. But again, data is one point in time. All of these assessments are a snapshot based on when they were taken. And the most important information that we will have is the information that we gather throughout the school year as students respond to instruction or have a difficult time responding to instruction, and we need to intervene and try new things. So we'll be talking about the systems that we have in place to address those things. We've been working hard to think through our multi-tiered system of support, or our MTSS system, where we intervene and set goals specifically for students when they're struggling or even when they're doing really well. and they're just outside of that norm, and how we can continue to have all of our students grow individually and achieve their goals. So it's going to be challenging, but we're already working on it, and I have confidence that we'll be doing some great things for kids.
Thank you. Any other questions for Dr. Lee Alley? All right, so we're going to move on to our action items. Our first action item has to do with the board policy manual. It's the second read and final approval. The board is asked to approve the board policy manual. That again, it's the second read, final approval. We will be adding the final policy manual as soon as we receive it from IASB. Oh, sorry, you don't need to know that. That's a note for the board. Would anybody on the policy committee like to comment on the work that was done or anything that needs to be called out?
I don't feel that there's anything that needs to be called out at this point. We have been really quite thorough, I think, on the things that we wanted to discuss. So I would just say that I'm in full support of it, and I feel comfortable and happy with the versions that we have.
All 300
that we're presenting.
All 300 something pages that you guys went through?
Yes.
All right. No other questions or comments or concerns about this? Okay. May I have a motion to approve the board policy second read final approval with minor edits as discussed from the board?
So moved.
So moved.
Would anybody like to second it as opposed to be the primary?
If you didn't take my first, I'll second it.
Andy, I'm making you the second and Carrie the first. All right.
Roll call.
All right, sounds good.
Roll call vote, please.
Amy Connell Donahue.
Yes.
Andy Duran.
Yes.
Ann Hill, yes. Mark Barry.
Yes.
Lauren Hirsch.
Yes.
Carrie Steinbach.
Yes.
Tim Penich.
Yes.
All right, motion's approved. Thank you for all your hard work. That was an enormous project, and it's great to see that all finished.
Thank you to our current and former policy.
Yeah, I appreciate that for some of the former board members sticking around beyond their term to help wrap that up. So,
Will we get it printed out? Sorry to interrupt. Can we get a printed copy of it once it's doesn't have the pending adoption all over it?
Yep, we can do that. It will be uploaded online as well, but let us know if you'd like a printed copy and we can make you a binder. And our next project is administrative procedures that are aligned with policy. So that's our next undertaking.
all right. Action item B, the district succession plan. Dr. Lee Alley is going to discuss and ask for the board approval on a district succession plan per board policy 3:70 succession of authority. If the superintendent, building principal, or other administrator is temporarily unavailable, the succession of authority and responsibility of the respective office shall follow a succession plan developed by the superintendent and approved by the Board of Education. So now, if I'm not mistaken, Dr. Lee Alley is going to take us through that.
Yeah, so this was in the board packet, and as you know, we run pretty lean here at the district office and with our administrative team. And so each of our district office members in particular have a laundry list of responsibilities that they are overseeing. And so the first and primary thing is that we don't want to see any of our administrators go down because if we are temporarily unavailable, there's a lot of work that gets shifted to the other members of the team. So we are hoping for health and safety for all of our administrators all the time. And obviously this isn't for a daily absence. This is if there's going to be an extended period of time that an administrator would be absent. But as you can see in the succession plan, each central office administrator's list of responsibilities has been delineated to a few different individuals. And then for our building principals, we've asked if our principals are out of service or need to be out of the district, that our assistant principals step into that role as they know the building the best. And central office would support with assistant principal duties. And then if assistant principals are out, we would also provide support that way as needed from the principal. So happy to take any questions on that. Again, we've had instances even this year where somebody is out for some time and we pull together and do what we need to do. This is just kind of a more formal way of planning it out and making sure that we're prepared in the case of an emergency.
I just hope nobody gets sick.
So do we.
It's scary when you think about it. So, because your team consists of 7 people. Do I have that number right?
We have 7, yes, 3 central office administrators and 4 building administrators. And we obviously have our database and tech manager, Paul Sanchez. And so the group of us are 8. And we continue to look at the leadership structure and the organizational chart and see where we can support each other with all the work that needs to be done. It's a small and tight-knit group. We're pretty productive and got a lot done this year, and we'll continue to get better. But when one person is out, it makes a big difference in a small district.
It makes a huge difference, because I don't think everybody realizes that in general, the relationship between the size of the district and the amount of reporting and work required by the state doesn't get reduced linearly. You have almost as much work, if not the same, as all the big districts with huge support staffs. So you guys, we appreciate all that you do.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Dr. Leali about this succession plan? All right. May I have a motion to approve the district succession plan as presented by the administration?
So moved.
So moved.
I'll second it then.
May I have a roll call, please?
Andy Duran,
Yes.
Ann Hill, yes. Mark Barry,
Yes.
Lauren Hirsch, yes. Carrie Steinbach, yes. Tim Penich,
Yes.
Amy Connell Donahue.
Yes.
The motion's approved. Item C. This has to do with the approval and acceptance of the fiscal year 22 school treasurer's surety bond. Administration recommends that the board approve the 2021-2022 treasurer's surety bond from Liberty Mutual Insurance with a bond limit of $4.5 million for the premium amount of $3,015. This new carrier offered a bond premium that was 10% lower than our current carrier, which is Cincinnati Insurance Company. Jay, can you please, just for those watching not familiar with this, can you tell us why we need a treasurer's surety bond?
It is required by the school code that any treasurer of a school district is bonded, and we're required to report that or show a copy of the insurance to the Regional Office of Education prior to the beginning of the fiscal year. The amount of the bond should be 25% of the largest amount of cash on hand during the year. So it's based on the size of your budget, and it's really an insurance policy in case of any misappropriation of funds that the district is able to recover funds from the insurance company because it's public money.
Any questions for Mr. Khan on this? We'll be doing this every year, right, Jay?
We do this every year, and the premium is always roughly about the same. We've used the same insurance company for a while, and all the policies are pretty similar. So,
okay. All right. May I have a motion to approve the fiscal year 22 school treasurer's surety bond as presented by the administration? So moved.
So moved. Oh. Second.
All right. Ann Hill, yes. Mark Barry,
Yes.
Lauren Hirsch, yes. Carrie Steinbach,
Yes.
Tim Penich,
Yes.
Amy Connell Donahue,
Yes.
Andy Duran.
Yes.
All right, the motion's approved. Item 9D has to do with the purchase of a new truck and tractor. Administration is recommending that the board approve the purchase of a new truck for approximately $35,000 net of a trade-in and a new John Deere tractor for $25,000. These purchases are included in next year's budget. Jay, what would you like to tell us about that?
so I'm getting everything in place for next year. This may be a little bit early. We don't have the final numbers yet. We do have some quotes for the tractor, but just in looking at the capital budget for next year, this has been a need for a while, and this is a good time to pull the trigger on these because we don't have a lot of big capital projects right now. Right now, we're very thankful to our district maintenance crew. They do all of our snow removal and grounds maintenance in-house. Before I got here, we outsourced a lot of this, and it was very expensive. And so our guys do a great job. And we want to provide them with the equipment they need to do the job. Just like our administration, we have a small crew and they do a lot. And so we want to make the job as efficient as possible, make them as comfortable as possible on cold days, and also to give them the right tools to avoid injury and workers' comp claims and having guys out again, because we've got such a small staff. So the tractor, we have a similar one at elementary school that we purchased in 2012, and it's got a variety of different implements that can be used for lawn mowing and clearing snow. It's really done a great job. We didn't know how we survived without it. So we'd like to get one for the middle school. And our lawn machine at the middle school is 35 years old. So we need a new one there. And we're proposing getting a bigger one than we have and moving the big one, buying the new big one and giving it to elementary, since it's got that big concrete pad in the front. It's difficult to clear, and bringing the smaller unit to the elementary school, or to the middle school, excuse me. And then for the trucks, we have 2 full-size plow trucks right now that are in good working order, but when we have 2 smaller trucks that really aren't designed for plowing, but we have been using them as backups for that purpose. And it's just really hard on the vehicles, and they're getting older. And we'd like to trade them in now while they still have some value, get a big plow truck. So again, our guys have the tools they need. And then, and we don't want to wait too long. We've got another truck that we've kept probably longer than we should have, and the maintenance costs on that truck are getting pretty significant. So we'd like to make those purchases next year. They've already been put in the budget. The new truck is bought on the state of Illinois bid. So the state goes out and bids, and all the dealers in the state bid on the truck. And so we get the best price. And then the tractor's expected to cost below $25,000. So that doesn't need a bid. And I just would like the approval now, so that when we do get everything in order, we can go ahead and make the purchase.
Thanks, Jay. Does anybody have any questions for Jay? All right. May I have a motion to approve the purchase of a new truck and tractor as presented by the administration?
So moved. Second.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mark Barry,
Yes.
Lauren Hirsch,
Yes.
Carrie Steinbach,
Yes.
Tim Penich,
Yes.
Amy Connell Donahue,
Yes.
Andy Duran,
Yes.
Ann Hill, yes.
Motion's approved. Item E has to do with the tentative budget for the 2021 school year. The board is asked to approve that budget. The final budget will be brought back to the board in August and September for review and approval. I would point out that anybody who's interested in the very specific details, that tentative budget has been presented in the past 2 meetings. Am I correct in that? I think.
Last meeting.
Last meeting, so that it is available on the video if you look at our website.
Yeah, it will also be posted on our website.
Is there anything you want to summarize for the board there, Jay?
This is something we do every year. It is a part of the statutory budget process. The budget needs to be on display for at least 30 days for the community to review. So the board passes a tentative budget that we use to start spending at the beginning of the fiscal year. And we post it on our website for inspection. And then we will come back and have a budget hearing in September, at which time the board will approve the final budget. And our tentative budget is balanced for next year.
Any questions for Mr. Khan? Not hearing any. May I have a motion to approve the 21-22 tentative budget as presented by the administration?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Carrie Steinbach,
Yes.
Tim Penich,
Yes.
Amy Connell Donahue,
Yes.
Andy Duran,
Yes.
Ann Hill, yes. Mark Barry,
Yes.
Lauren Hirsch. Yes.
Motion's approved. Item F, the personnel report. This month's personnel report includes 2 retirements, resignations, one for Eric Godbolt, who's a teaching assistant at the elementary school effective June 10th. He's moving. Another includes Andrew Freeman, a teaching assistant at the elementary school effective June 10th, also moving. The report also includes a license change of assignment. Adrian Olmsted is the drama and STEAM teacher at the middle school effective the 21-22 school year, and is replacing Sally Verdon, who is first grade at the elementary school, who's retiring. Any questions or comments on this month's personnel report?
As a correction, Sally Verdon is the LBS one that we just honored tonight. She's not a first grade teacher, sorry.
Thank you. So may I have a motion to approve the June 8th, 2021 personnel report as presented by the administration?
So moved.
Second? I'll second.
Anne Hill, yes. Mark Barry.
Yes.
Lauren Hirsch. Yes. Carrie Steinbach. Yes. Tim Penich.
Yes.
Amy Connell Donahue.
Yes.
Andy Duran.
Yes.
Okay, the motion is approved. Our final action item tonight is the consent agenda. This month's consent agenda includes the open session meeting minutes for May 25th of 2021, the regular Board of Ed meeting, the treasurer's report, the impressed report, the bills report, the P card report, as well as the resolution to transfer funds from contingency. Would anybody like any of those individual items pulled out of the consent agenda to be discussed separately? Not hearing any. May I have a motion to approve the June 8th, 2021 consent agenda as presented by the administration?
So moved. So moved?
Second, please. Roll call vote.
Tim Penich.
Yes.
Amy Connell Donahue.
Yes.
Andy Duran.
Yes.
Anne Hill, yes. Mark Barry.
Yes.
Lauren Hirsch. Yes. Carrie Steinbach.
Yes.
Okay, the motion's approved. That's it for action items. Number 10, FOIA requests. We didn't have any to report this month. Item 11, public comment. Do we have any written comment that came in during the meeting?
Yes.
You did.
We have a question from Lane Bennett, and her question is, will the LBMS and LBES kids be receiving their yearbooks tomorrow?
I can answer that one if you'd like.
Sure.
So yearbooks and yearbook companies continue to be delayed and slow to deliver those yearbooks. We've got our order in. Unfortunately, I don't at the middle school anticipate that we'll have them tomorrow for distribution, and we'll have to coordinate a distribution likely over the course of the summer. I don't know where we are with the elementary, but that's what the status is at the middle school.
And the elementary school yearbooks have arrived. We have them ready for distribution tomorrow. So sorry, middle school folks, but LBES students and families who ordered a yearbook who are in person will receive their yearbook by the end of the day. Remote families are welcome to pick them up on the 10th. We'll have staff in the building as they turn in their devices. They can pick up the yearbook. And props to PTO because they turned out really amazing. It was a very different year to be able to gather enough content, and they're really impressive. So thanks to all who contributed.
Cool. Any other public comment?
Hey, Mark, can I say one thing real quick?
Yeah, please.
Before we adjourn, I just want to say thank you to Mr. Blackmer and Dr. Leali for thinking outside the box with the 8th grade graduation. And it wasn't easy. And I know people really wanted to have that graduation and they wanted their families there. And I think everything that was asked for was granted and done beautifully. So I think that is worth pointing out and saying thank you. I think it was really appreciated by the community overall.
Cool.
Thanks, Amy.
Anybody else? I don't see any hands raised in Zoom. So if you have a comment, feel free to email anybody on the board or the superintendent or bring it to our next meeting. Otherwise, we are going to have a meeting on July 8th sometime, right? That's our next meeting, but we need to schedule the time.
Yes, we'll reach out to board members to find the right time and then
Yep.
get that posted as soon as
Good.
possible.
So may I have a motion to adjourn the June 8th regular Board of Ed meeting at 8:26 p.m.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
roll call vote, please.
Mark Barry,
Yes.
Lauren Hirsch. Yes. Carrie Steinbach,
Yes.
Tim Penich,
Yes.
Amy Connell Donahue,
Yes.
Andy Duran,
Yes.
Ann Hill, yes.
All right, so we're adjourned. I hope to see you guys live and in person sometime not too far from now.
Thanks,
All right.
everyone.
Take care.
Have a
Good
good
night.
night.